Hello and welcome back to Art Therapy with Jen. Today I'm going to be doing chapter 4 in my Dark Dystopian themed magazine collage art journal. And if this is your first time tuning in to this series on my channel, well, first off, welcome. In this series we're going to be doing a different chapter or page in this journal each week until we do the completed journal. And we're going to be exploring different stories and themes in this world as each chapter goes on. So it's going to be revealed as we go on to myself and you, and I love hearing what stories you all see in there, what plot lines and everything that you see in the pictures. Like, that has been giving me so much joy, and I really appreciate all the wonderful comments and insights y'all have been giving me. It has just been feeding my soul, and I greatly appreciate it. Y'all have had me thinking of things and going on journeys that I didn't even think about. So thank you for joining in this kind of creative and imagination exercise, if you will, because it's just nice to just let your imagination just go wild a little bit, right? And we get to glue pretty pictures along the way, so it works out. Thank you all so much, and hopefully we'll get even more of the story today as we're doing chapter 4 here. So as you saw, I have this like zip folio that I have pulled just images from my larger stash that I thought would go in this journal. And before I do a page, I go through there and I flip through everything. That's just how my brain works. I just have to get in there and get my hands on pieces and see what is telling me that needs to be used today. It's super technical, y'all, but it's just what I do. I flip through. And for this one, I pulled a lot of like rich browns, coppers, and then some like metallic-y grays, and just this kind of a depressing palette a little bit. Not gonna lie. But again, we have kind of those metallic tones that have been running through each chapter, and we're still in that kind of fall, or if you're fancy, autumnal palette, and just acting as the backdrop for my pages. And if you haven't tuned in to kind of how I do some of my magazine collage journal pages before, I start with building a background, and I'm not worried about what the image is, if that makes sense. I turn things upside down, sideways. I tear them right in the middle. I'm more looking at like colors and textures and how the edges fit together, just to kind of give me a base to really tell that story on, if you will. So, and another technique that I use if I'm just wanting to give myself a good starting point and kind of get the journal flow going, is I take a larger image and I rip it up, and I put the 2 or more pieces around different parts of the page. So it gives a really good starting off point. It gives you something to kind of layer with. So I'm not really creating like pieces that fit together in any other way other than in like color and lines and things like that. So you may see a building upside down or that car seat upside down. It's all good. It's all good. Ain't nobody sitting in it. It's all good. And then I kind of play around with them if I want raw edges or cut edges, or if I want to fussy cut something, or just whatever the page feels it needs. I'm super technical, y'all, but I just kind of enjoy it, and I just put it down there and intuitively go where it needs to. And I set all these images all around my journal there, so I can just kind of at a glance and then pick what I feel that it needs, and I set it on there, and I'm like, yeah, you go there, don't you? So I do. Did any of y'all fellow journalers or crafters or art people, do y'all talk to your supplies? I do. And maybe because I have cats and I talk to them too, but I talk to them. Like, do you go there, buddy? Don't tell nobody, okay? But anyway, and we have, I think it's neat, ended up having these kind of dark, depressing little buildings on there, and along with a cityscape. So I think this is going to have something to do with that city that maybe our nefarious group is in. I'm not sure. I'm curious to see how it's going to start. So now that I got my background on there, we're going to add our characters for this chapter. So this first image, I don't know if these things are being added to her or if this is who she truly is. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Is she something robotic or controlled and this is her true nature, or is this something that's being added to her? I'm not quite sure yet. And then we have this image of this eye where it just looks, we're either seeing into something, or she also has these metallic pieces on there. And then we have this girl here I'm about to put down, and she's turned away from us. So not quite sure, but there's something she's either not saying or hiding. And then we're going to have this image that I think is telling us what's truly going on, and it's almost this X-ray type image with energy and stuff flowing out. So let's take a closer look at that. There's definitely something going on here, and I'm wondering if it might tie into the factory that we had in chapter 2. What do y'all think? There's something up here for sure. So let's see if we can get a little more information. So the next step I like to do is I add my words, and this is going to give us more insight into the story. And I just go through my whole word stash and I pull things out that I think would go together on this page. So for this first one, I'm kind of Frankensteining 2 bits together, and it says remaking the female. I'm getting weird factory vibes, y'all. We're remaking the female. And then larger text down on the lower part of the page is going to say the darkest secret. And these are 3 separate pieces that I put together. So definitely something dark going on, and it ain't good. It ain't good. Something going on in this city, y'all. I think the old city was destroyed, as we saw in chapter 1. And then this new city, there's something afoot. And then when we start moving to the upper right there, it says we're in for the fight of our lives. We're going to lose a lot of those fights, but it's the only option we have. So I'm thinking this girl, the one with the eye up there, she sees what's going on. She can't do anything about it, but she knows she's going to fight. And then we have connecting these 2 images, the girl turned away, and then the X-ray type image, it says losing yourself. Which makes sense with remaking the female, because you're not going to be who you started. And then this one I found said the old prophecies of a ruined future are devolving into a deranged present. That's our story there. That's our story. So to keep the future from being how these people fear it will be, they're making a deranged present. And it has something to do with these secret things that they're doing. And people are seeing it. Don't know that they can do anything about it. And maybe most people don't know about it since it's a secret. But there's something going on. What do y'all think? I'm curious. Because this page I'm kind of see a few different things. So I love hearing what y'all think. And I am adding to the darkness with adding my Sharpie details. My pen of darkness, right? And then I'm still on my little kick with the metallic paint. So I want to add some metallic paint. And I actually want to do these little like almost stick figure type tree images. I don't know what you call them. And to give it a good base, I'm putting some Sharpie down. And then I'm going to be putting that metallic paint on top of it so it really pops out. I don't know. I was just getting vibes that I needed some type of symbol there, and I just thought of these little pitiful like stick trees. So we're going to build on that, and I'm going to be using 2 different colors of metallic paint. I have a really red coppery color, and I have a more yellow that y'all see there, like golden color, which just kind of ties in with those metallic hues and that metal that we've been using. And I'm just going to be layering them up on top of that those little Sharpie trees that I put down. They almost give me, I can't think of the movie. Was it like Blair Witch where there was like the little stick thing? I can't remember. I am the world's worst at movie trivia, but I want to think it was. There was like this little stick thing hanging on a tree somewhere, and it was really ominous. Also going around just adding little dots around the words where I had put the Sharpie outline on them, just because I felt like doing some paint dots, and it adds to the page. And then I really like the way that metallic looked on top of those Sharpie figures, so I'm just going to be adding that in a light wash around that Sharpie border around the page too, just to add into that. And I really like the effect that it gives when you move the page around and you have this just shiny, shimmery effect there. I just really like it. And as always, I'm very careful not to lay down too much paint. I always try to give this caveat out there because these are magazine images and they do not like moisture. So if you're painting over your magazine, be very mindful of what paint you're using, and kind of don't get it too wet, if that makes sense. And we're going to go a little bit closer up where we're going to see the page so far, and I just wanted to take my Sharpie back out and outline her so that she stands out from the page a little more, because she's given away the secret here. She's the secret. And I'm almost wondering if maybe this is something that only certain people can see, or maybe this is some type of treatment that's being marketed or something, and they don't realize that it's not just like a beauty treatment or a wellness treatment. It's actually fundamentally changing whoever takes it. Because I know we had the factory, and it was an opportunity for the rich. And it wouldn't be the first time in history where products have been marketed as one thing, and it turns out that there's quite some sinister things behind that. So I'm wondering if that's the case. We're remaking the female, and they don't even know it. And they're worried about where it's going to go in the future, but they're making the present even worse than the worst way the future could be imagined. That makes sense. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I'm just going around with a white, I think I used a white, a gray, and a black gel pen. And I'm just adding some, I call it like visual chaos. I'm really just adding some scribbles and some curly cues around the page and on top of the little Sharpie marks that I made, just to kind of add another element. And it's like a thin line with all these details. So let's take a look at the finished page. I'm going to show y'all with it kind of moving so you can see the metallic, and then we'll look at that final picture. And that is chapter 4. I think I'm going to call it The Darkest Secret. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this next chapter, and thank y'all so much for the support and love and just engagement with your story ideas and everything in this journal. Like I said, it just truly feeds my soul and makes me so glad that I started this channel. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but this is where I really like going with journals. Let's take some images, let's put them together, let's let our imagination go wild, and let's tell a story. Let's do it. Even if it's something where maybe you're gonna have an image of a little, I don't know, cartoon rabbit, cartoon cat. What's it telling you to put on the page? What does it want as its background? Just let your mind imagine for a little while and just kind of go down that road. Y'all tell I was that kid with the little figurines that would talk to each other, and I'd have like the whole world surrounded them. But I just really enjoy it, and I'm so happy to have found people that enjoy it with me. And thank y'all again so much, and I will see y'all next week to see what happens in chapter 5. Bye, guys.